Hey everyone, Kane here, and in this video we're gonna talk about the Spiritglade event as well as the Flaming Genie as like the divine pet or the newly released pet that just came out, and what it is able to do and what it can provide, and some strategies that may or may not be pretty decent to use. So, first things first, we're gonna look into the rewards and what you're able to get. So basically, by pulling this particular thing, and do keep in mind that one of this costs 300 Linari, so 10x costs 3000. So to reach, let's say, the maximum reward to get a, let's say, 1-star divine pet, it will cost you about 39,000 Lenari, which is like a lot. Now, do keep in mind you're gonna get some of these divine stones on the way, and whenever you get it, if you're not lucky and you don't get any shards, I think you would still be able to get this pet to at least 3-star. If somewhat average luck, you probably could get it 4-star. So, if you would spend like 40k Linari, chances are you're gonna reach it to somewhere around 4-star plus minus. If you're really lucky, 5-star. If you're unlucky, perhaps not too far from 4-star. So yeah, not, I suppose, not too bad to save that amount of Linari for a pet. However, I'm not sure if I would advise this pet in particular, and we're gonna touch on that in just a bit. Rewards, these rewards in particular, they don't really seem incredible or like a lot or like game changing, right? However, the rewards that you're able to receive here do pose a pretty decent thing. So basically, by pulling, let's say, this wheel, you're able to get 10 hours rush and then 1 day rush as well. Now, I think that 1 day rush has a somewhat decent chance of being pulled, which is like 3%. Sure, it seems like very little, but trust me, if it's 3%, you're gonna pull it at least like 10 to 20 times if you're gonna be pulling this wheel like 100 times, more or less, you know? So the chances of getting it are pretty, I suppose, decent. However, to get the Flaming Genie or the pets in general, the chances are even less than to get a skin. So do keep that in mind. Even the shards of the Flaming Genie are pretty hard to get. Like, basically, if you get a shard, it's almost the same chances of like getting a full one. It's almost impossible. Honestly, like, pulling this, you either pull the maximum to at least get one full copy guaranteed, unless of course you're lucky, then you may stop. However, I would highly suggest you pull the maximum amount to actually get an additional copy, if anything, to I suppose get the pet to 4-star and then work your way to 5-star, because 4 or 5-star pets are the go-to in PvP or PvE. Now, we're gonna talk about what the pet provides. Now, I don't have this pet 5-star, but I've heard a couple of the replies from players and what they have encountered and all that kind of stuff. So, it says, upon deployment, the Genie reduces the accuracy of all enemy ranged units by 15%. Now, this depends where you use it, depends how good it is. If it just removes 15%, or the total amount by 15%. So it could be just minus 15, or if the archers have like 200%, minus 15 could be like friggin' 30%, I think, something like that. So it really depends how this calculation works. But accuracy in itself, it really depends. I'm not sure if it's really that strong of a debuff. Now, the skill itself uses, or rather used to inflict stun on enemies caught within the target area, the same diameter of like all other pets, for 5 seconds. So this stun is 5 seconds. Reduced by 50% when receiving melee damage, which means Rufio, which means even what's it called, Fenris wolves, which means literally anything that's melee touching them, potentially even like area damage from friggin' Balrog, right? I think some of the area damage would still be melee, but even like that half range sort of attacks, question mark, that has to be like really tested. And also damage reduction by 50% for 17 seconds. Now, this buff says ineffective against dragons, buildings, and overlords, which means it's ineffective against bosses, sieging, and also trying to stun the enemy dragon. Now, the last thing which many people miss, 50% effectiveness against heroes, which means the stun here, which is 5 seconds, it instantly drops to 2.5 seconds for heroes, and the damage reduction thing 25%. So the thing about it, uh, well, it's very hard to judge and how long the buff or debuff would last. Now picture something like this, right? You excuse me, you use the stun to stun, let's say, Valerie, Avril, all that kind of stuff, like the burst side heroes. The stun would last 2.5 seconds. However, depending if you jump with Rufio on those, let's say, stun mages, this 2.5 seconds would then be reduced, even if it's like 1 second or whatever left. It would probably pop out, and the first thing that they see in front of them is Rufio, right? So basically, you would be using Rufio to jump on mages, removing this stun, and then Rufio instantly focused and literally dead in a split second, or in Flora's Flower. Now, the same thing can happen if you use this stun on archers, let's say somewhere in the middle row, right? Where you're not gonna be focusing melee, and then you use Rufio, and then you use a spin and you touch those archers. The first thing those archers see is Rufio in front of them, which had removed this stun. So I'm not entirely sure how good or how proper this particular ability can be, because it has zero effect in terms of PvE ability, unless of course you would be playing something like Pinnacle and stunning the Deadeyes, which would then put your mage into, I suppose, invincibility, stuff like that. It's very, very situational, I suppose, but majority of the times people would just use something which would boost the attack of either the ranged units, or attack, or rather attack speed. So this skill itself, I would suppose it's strictly PvP based, and even then, you would have to like readjust the formation, and likely not even use Rufio, or use it even in like different ways, not even touching or scratching the zone of effect of this particular stun. Honestly, it's a question mark. I think the previous two pets were actually a lot better, but honestly, this pet for me doesn't seem like really overpowered. At least in, I suppose, the ability and the stuff that it may provide. Now, of course, this is my opinion. I haven't yet faced him in PvP. So, whenever I do get to face him and see what stuff it kind of provides and what effect it has on my field, likely I will make a new video about it. However, from the first glances, I like really don't see this particular pet being actually that good. Now, this is the other pet which I spoke about, which helps you break the stall side. Basically, damage taken by enemy melee units in the target area increased by 150%. And every 4 seconds, their evade chance and healing received decreased by 6.5% for the rest of the battle. Now, this has 4 stacks, so that's 26%. So you do kind of realize what this ability is. Like, it's friggin' overpowered compared to the other one. I mean, sure, like that ability has the potential to screw up a person's skill cast, but even then, it doesn't bring incredible amounts to the table as like the other two pets do. Anyways, do let me know in the comments down below if you have it, if you have used it, if you fought against it, and what kind of stuff you noticed yourself. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the video. If you had enjoyed it, do hit that subscribe button, it would help me out a lot. Thanks for watching, take care, and stay safe out there.